Welcome to a guide on Pike, Keils, and Field of Glory 2 Medieval. Note that this is not a guide on pikemen in general, Pike PLA, etc. It's about the special characteristics of the two Pike Keil type units. There are Swiss pikemen and Landsknecht pikemen. Keil units can be distinguished on the battlefield by this little golden halberd and long, flowy banner. It'll also say that they have the Keil in their name. So, Keil units can ignore the zone of control of non-Keil units unless they are directly facing one another in a primary zone of control. But there are exceptions to how this works. So here, you have a pretty classic setup. Like so. We can charge this unit. We can't turn, right? You can only turn to reduce flank threat. There is no flank threat, so we can't turn. So we can't fight this unit. Here, we can charge either as we are in the primary Zoc and facing of both units. However, we can't turn, say, this way. Here, we can just march past this unit because we're not in its primary Zoc. Okay, well, with flank threat, things get different. So we've got a flank threat here, right? Keils cannot be flank charged, but they can be rear charged. That's a rear charge. We can get into the exact angles and stuff for that in a bit. So good charge here, but then we might get rear charged, right? Or we could turn to reduce the flank threat, say here, and waltz past, although we could still get rear charged by that unit, or we could turn and move here, as the determined foot have quite a bit of movement. Or we could turn, and then because we are although we're getting primary Zoc, they're not directly facing us anymore. So we can actually charge here. If this was like a squishy unit of crossbowmen or something, that would be especially bad. Note that the Landsknecht pikemen don't move as rapidly, so we could turn and move here still, but we could not turn and move here. Okay. What about which angles are rear charges? Again, flanks don't apply to Keils. Okay, well, so this is a rear charge, contacting direct back of the unit. Pretty straightforward. So is this. So is this. This is not. It's not contacting the direct back of the unit, and if you say start here and you move here, this is still not, because you didn't start the turn in a rear charge position. You must start the whole turn in a rear charge position. What about diagonals? Okay, that is straightforwardly a rear charge. This is not. This is not by the default pathing, which is to go straight forward first, but you could go here, and then it'll repath, and that is a rear charge. Note also that Keils can lose Keil status to casualties. So this unit is at 625 out of 1200. Superior units auto break at 40% strength, so it could still survive a bit longer. This is pretty rare. Usually a unit this badly shot up is going to be long gone. But you can see now that we can flank charge this unit. Because it's determined foot, despite having entirely lost its deep pike POA, as you can see, it will still push back enemies that it defeats in combat that it attacked. If this was a unit of Landsknecht pikemen, who are heavy foot, not determined foot, enemies could fall back from them instead of getting pushed back now that they've lost their deep pike. Okay, what else? Well, they ignore the Zocs of non-Keil units, but Keil units do Zoc them, right? So here, this unit cannot charge this unit to its front because we're getting Zoc, but we can still move. Here, we can't charge this unit because we're getting Zoc, but if we move out of Zoc first, then we could charge. Not that this would be a good idea in this specific circumstance, but that can come in useful. Okay, what about how to defeat or neutralize these very tough but very expensive units? Well, here's a simple one. 148 point unit of pikes, 34 point unit of trash cavalry. Looking at the contact, it's a win on impact, but not much of a win, and a drastic win in melee. But the thing is, here's what's going to happen. That's the best result you could hope for, and still you're going to spend at least 2 turns dealing with them. But that's a really cheap crap unit. What if we had men-at-arms instead? 63 points, 148 points. 72 points of handgunners, so this is still less points of blue units than this one red unit, right? You can't do anything except charge. Charging is horrible. And the Knightly Lancers will either disrupt the pikemen or fall back if the pikemen don't disrupt. Great, now what happens? Now you get shot at with stationary arc, close range shooting from handgunners, who also inflict an additional -1 cohesion test, being gunpowder. This unit is fucked. There's pretty much nothing it can do unless it gets very, very lucky on impacts. Okay, what else? Let's say you are the blue player. So you got 72 points of defensive spearmen and 24 points of my javelin horse here. So you're looking at 96 points versus 148. What can you do? You can't take these head on. You're not in a position for a rear charge. Well, move the light javelin horse here, charge. You've blocked them from falling back. If they don't frag, they should stay in contact for a turn. Then you can get a rear charge. There it is. You can also get some insurance. They are tough units. Okay, so the Swiss are extremely tough. It wasn't speedy, but, with a considerable points deficit for the blue side, they could still pretty easily set up a drop there by forcing a shitty unit into contact. And this would have been much easier if any of these units were less horrible. If you had a unit of Impact's foot, or one of these was a unit of like mercenary men at arms on foot, something like that. Or if you'd had a unit of trash lancers instead of light javelin horse, then when they charged the frag unit, it would inflict an additional -1 for losing impact to lancers, etc., etc. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much a short guide on different issues with Pike Keils. I'll probably start working on more of these short guides soon. If you have something in particular you wanted to see covered, let me know in the comments below. Next on my list is infantry skirmishers.